Hey guys, and welcome. Yes, there is not a show this week. Decided to take the weekend off, 3-day weekend off, so there won't be a show at all. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did last time and throw in an old episode. This episode's our end of the year, top 5 games and movies of 2011, the first year we started the show. So hopefully you like it. Play it in the background and do work while you're listening to us. So yeah. Enjoy and let us know what you think in the comments. Hello and welcome to Some Shit We Like, episode number 42, aka the Christmas year-end special show.
Holiday extravaganza.
Yeah, holiday. I am here as always with Bryce and Mike.
Hello.
What's going on, party people?
Party people.
Tag team.
Really old saying.
Mighty Ducks. That's all I think of when I hear that song now, by the way.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Is the second Mighty Ducks movie.
Yeah.
So we are here to talk about our year-end 2011 show.
The shit we liked this year.
Yep, the shit
And,
we like.
I'll have everybody know that Bryce does not like making definitive lists, and I forced him to number each item on his list from 5 to 1 because it factors into what gets the show item of the year in both movies and video games.
I didn't like it. Well, it's not so bad. When you're pulling out of a year, I guess it's not so bad. Like, all time kind of sucks. So this is some shit we like, and so we picked our top 5 pieces of shit for the year.
Rick totally just, I don't know if he burped, hiccuped, or threw up in his mouth.
It was everything. It was everything.
I burped. I can't believe I just did that.
So we each have our top 5 pieces of shit on some shit we like.
Yeah. Shall we start?
Yeah, who wants to go first with movies? We're going to start with movies.
Dun, 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 dun.
I think Rick should go first.
Okay, I'm for it. Rick, from 5 to 1, and then after, give us your pleasant surprise of the year.
Oh, man, I have to say, this is an interesting year. There's a lot of good shit that came out. So I'm going to give you my shit that I like this year.
Give me your shit.
I'm going to give you my feces right now.
Piece by piece.
You're so
5
gross.
to 1.
Let's do this. Come on.
Okay, number 5. It's so hard to pick. Okay.
It's already done. You already picked.
True, but I almost replaced this movie.
Stop it.
Okay. Number 5 on my top 5 list. Moneyball.
Ooh, shit.
Which I'm pretty sure has shocked both of you. Am I right?
I didn't expect it to be number 5. I thought it might have been your pleasant surprise of the year.
Yeah, I don't even know if I thought I would make your list.
Oh, interesting. But
Nice, dude. Yeah, we all enjoyed that movie. We talked about it on previous shows, so
yeah,
it's a great movie.
I love this. I love the movie so much so that I felt it belonged in my top 5.
Nice, dude.
Excellent.
My number 4 is Attack of the Block, or Attack the Block. Man. Attack the Block.
Yeah.
I struggled. That was almost on. Like, not trying to give a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler because it's not on my list. That was almost on my list. I'm actually not surprised to hear that, but I think that's cool that's on your list because that was very close to being on mine.
I would have thought for sure it would have been on your list, but all right.
I would have thought maybe you would have thought that too, but it's not.
You know, all right. So maybe I should have said this at the top of the show, like before we started the list. But just for clarification for everybody listening, none of us picked movies because of what we wanted to win, movie of the year or game of the year. We picked with our hearts and what we genuinely felt were the top 5 things we each individually experienced this year in movies and video games. So, I mean, there might be a lot of similar things on our lists, but just know that we all picked separately and individually, and then that will come into play after.
Yes.
I figured people would get that.
Yeah.
We're not like other rating shows.
Yeah, a lot of places what they'll do is like they'll put everybody in a room and be like, okay, what did you guys play this year? All right, well, we didn't play that, so that can't be there. Or I didn't play that, so that can't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
we didn't discuss with one another any of this stuff.
Yeah.
At least I didn't help Mike put together his list. We didn't collectively put
Exactly.
together a list.
Right.
Rick and I didn't discuss it. These are all independent. So this is
I didn't-
Rick's opinion. And as
Okay.
Mike said, we're going to tally up,
Yep.
the number ones, and that's going to be what got the most votes, and that'll be the best video game and/or movie.
Yeah. Each list, each number on the list has a point value,
Yeah.
and will be added up.
So yeah, number 4, Attack the Block. Michael or Mike, did you ever see it?
No, I haven't, because every time I went to go check it out at Redbox, it was always gone.
Okay.
But I need to see that movie.
You really need to
Yes.
see this movie. So yeah, that's my number 4. Number 3, Super 8.
Ooh.
Super
Okay.
8 was actually Super 8 and Attack the Block were really head-to-head competition for me. But
I can see that. I can understand that kind of sort of Goonies sort of esque style movies.
yeah, because they're both
Adventures or
almost
feels.
they're all both almost kind of the same, like, in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Super 8, number 3, loved it. Spielberg produced movie. J.J. Abrams, as everybody knows, I hate him but like him.
I didn't know that. I thought you liked JJ.
I hate him, but hate him.
No, I hate him but like him, but hate him but like him.
Really?
He's got a love-hate relationship with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
That's news to me.
I've told you before.
No, I always thought you just liked JJ Abrams.
I guess I reluctantly like him. I guess.
It's like me with the Foo Fighters. Like I
Yeah.
never want to like what they come out with, but inevitably I end up going, this is a pretty good album.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, number 3, Super 8. Number 2 should be sort of a surprise, but not really. It was a really competition for my 1 and 2.
I think I know what your 1 and 2 are, but that's okay.
All right, number 2, 50-50.
I guess that one.
50-50, loved the movie. It's 2 movies made me cry or tear up. And 50-50 was one of them.
Nice.
Pussy.
I don't care.
Just kidding. I'm
Bryce
kidding.
has no soul. Don't
Yeah.
listen to him.
I don't have a soul.
But yeah, 50-50, I've watched that twice and both times. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
hard to watch, but it was such a
Amazing.
great,
Fucking
great movie. Number 1 is a movie I know both of you guys have not seen, Beginners.
Okay, then I was wrong.
Beginners is the one I sort of talked about here and then throughout the podcast this year.
Yeah.
It's with Ewan McGregor. It's just a fantastic movie. It's like 50-50, almost kind of hit close to home type of movie. And it was amazing. I highly recommend you guys all see that. It's just fantastic. And it didn't really get a wide release as much as I hoped it would have. But like it had this really small release, which was like mostly independent theaters, but like it went out to like Regal theaters, a few Regal theaters here and there.
Yeah.
But
Nice, dude.
a great
That's-
movie, but that's my list.
Your list has shocked me, sir.
What's that?
Your list has shocked me, sir. There's something on there to me that is missing, that I'm
Yeah, there's-
surprised is missing.
To
Let
me,
me guess, Red
for
State?
me, there's 2 things missing. But wait, let's hear what his surprise of the year was. His pleasant surprise of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. My pleasant surprise. This isn't our number 6. This is a surprise. Yeah, well, I saw this as something that caught me. Like, I went to see it really with no really expectations for it. I was kind of surprised when I saw it. So this is not my number 6.
Okay.
And it's Crazy Stupid Love.
Nice.
So that's why I was surprised when Ryan mentioned it.
Yeah.
I was like, huh. I mean, it's not on my list. It's just a surprise. I went to see it because I heard from someone, oh, it's a pretty good movie. You should go watch it. I'm like, all right. I pretty much saw everything during that week of everything I've already wanted to see. So I said, might as well go see it. It has Steve Carell, and I'm a Steve Carell fan as well as Emma Stone. So yeah, I went into it thinking it was just going to be your typical chick flick movie, but it was a lot more than that. It had a lot of heart. It actually surprised me with the ending, and with some of the situations that went on in that movie. So That's why it's my surprise.
Very cool, man.
So, as I said, your
That
list
shocked me.
shocked the house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You've
I
got
think my
something
list
to
is
me
going to
that's
be pretty predictable.
your list has something to me that's conspicuously missing.
So wait, Mike, you said that was a predictable?
No, I said I think my list is going to be pretty predictable.
Oh.
So what do you think I'm referring to?
I could only think of two movies, which is Red State and Drive.
Drive is the one that I'm shocked isn't on there, as well
Red
as
State
Red
for
State.
me.
But for Bryce, I was pretty sure it was Red State.
So where does that rank for you? Tell us a little bit about
Drive.
your
That's
like
what I
your
was fighting with
decision
number
making
5.
for 5.
Okay.
Yeah, Moneyball and Drive, but I've really liked Moneyball.
What about Red State?
Red State is what I'm asking you about.
Oh, Red State? Well, since Drive...
You were super like I mean
Yeah.
the reason why it surprised me is you were way amped on that movie, and you couldn't wait for Mike and I to see it. So that's why I'm saying it's surprising me that it didn't even crack your top 5.
No, well, it's on my top 10. So number 6 would technically be Drive, and number 7 would be Red State.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, and that's not to say those were bad movies at all whatsoever.
No.
Like, yeah.
I'm
Oh, no,
saying
no,
I'm
of course
surprised
not.
it wasn't more up there.
In fact,
Yeah.
I think I might post my top 10.
Yeah, I think, if we wait, if you guys want to do that, we can.
I don't want to do that. I want no part in that.
Well,
I got my 5 and that's it. I don't need to figure out 6, 7, 8, 9,
Well,
10.
it's not
I'm out.
it's just going to be a post. I'm just
Yeah.
going to post
Oh,
it.
okay.
No,
yeah,
no,
cool.
I still don't want to do that. I don't want to figure it out.
You don't have to. I'm just saying I'm going to do it. But if
Well,
you,
I might.
I'm not gonna do it.
I'm not doing it. That's cool, man. I like that list. It's kind of
Right.
eclectic. There's
Just-
a lot of different things on there.
yeah, just to review, number 5, Moneyball. Number 4, Attack the Block. 3, Super 8. 2, 50-50. 1, Beginners.
Okay, very cool. Would you like to go, Bryce, or would you like me to go?
Let's have you go.
All right, let me go into my list here. I had a lot of trouble with the top 3, and as far as what is going to be 1, 2, and 3, and I also had trouble with what was going to be 4 and 5. And I guess I'll stop explaining. I'll just get into it. Number 5 for me this year was Moneyball. So right away, boom, the same movie in the same spot on 2 of our lists.
It's funny.
Now that's the lowest point value spot, but I'm just glad that, like I said, we're probably all going to have something real similar on our lists, but I think it'll be cool how our lists will differ. But anyway, Moneyball, awesome movie. The performances were great. I love baseball. I love that story. And like I said on the show where we reviewed it, I was surprised that they could take an event that I know exactly what happens in and make it suspenseful and make me on the edge of my seat the entire time. So
Yeah.
Moneyball, number 5. Number 4, Super 8. Awesome movie, nearly perfect, great sensibility. Loved the way they handled the children and treated them like people. I thought maybe the creature was a little bit less than what I expected of it. I was expecting something a little bit different, I guess. But all in all, awesome movie. That's number 4. Number 3, Red State. This was a shock to me that it was as good as it was. And not that I don't think Kevin Smith is capable of making a good movie. I just didn't know he was capable of making a movie like this. And like we heard in his Q&A, and like Rick, you and I have heard on all the podcasts, and I think Bryce listened to those too, all the Red State of the Union
I
stuff.
haven't listened to those, but
Okay.
not those.
He essentially made 3 movies and brought them all together in a very cohesive, coherent fashion. And it didn't feel like it was jumping around a lot. So that was number 3 for me. That and the experience of seeing it at the New Beverly in that old school theater and the type of movie it is, like it just kind of added to the experience.
And the old-fashioned film, too.
Yeah. Straight film. Oh, I loved
It's cool
it.
that Smith was there,
Yes.
and Jason's wife took my ticket.
Exactly. And she's also the merch girl. Number 2, another one, same movie, same spot, 50-50 was
Huh.
number 2 for me.
No surprise.
You surprised?
No surprise. I
Oh,
said.
okay. Oh, I thought you said you're surprised. All right.
No.
Yeah, loved it. Fucking loved it. Like I
I
said.
said wow, but I'm not going to say why I said wow.
So 50-50, number 2. We've talked about it before. I saw this movie 3 times, cried all 3 times.
You saw that 3 times?
Yeah, perfect movie.
So you saw it with us, and then what?
And I saw it with Alexis, and I saw it with Alexis and Ben.
Oh, okay.
Great movie. Awesome movie. And I would go see it again. But it's my number 2. My number 1 movie of the year was Drive. Drive was fucking excellent. And
I knew it.
It was the best movie I saw this year. And when we talked about our summer, the summer movies thing earlier this year, there are a lot of movies that I surprised myself by them not being on this list. Some things like First Class and just other stuff that we saw.
Yeah, man. I'm surprised about that First Class isn't on your list either. You loved both of your guys' list.
Yeah,
I'm actually really surprised at that.
Well, like how we picked. I mean, well, how I
Yeah,
picked
yeah.
at least. I picked more emotionally connected to the movies. Or more like, I don't know.
Stuff that spoke to you the most, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this was just on a pure entertainment level. These are my 5 favorite movies of the year. And Drive, to me, I can't wait for that Blu-ray to come out. Christmas just passed. Ben actually went and got me a white leather jacket that's got the members only sticker on it that looks almost identical to the one from the movie, with the exception of not having the badass gold scorpion on the back, which I'm thinking about having added.
I'm sure you could find it on eBay. I
love
bet.
that movie. Oh yeah, you can. But I mean, I got the jacket. Ben got me this awesome jacket that looks like it. So dude, that was my favorite movie of the year. That was the easiest for me. Like, as soon as I started making this list, I was like, well, number 1 is Drive. Now let's see what battles out for the rest of the spots. Like, it was that simple for me. Now, my surprise of the year almost made my list. And at one point was on my list. But upon further reflection, I had to take it off and put Moneyball on the list. So this almost made my list. I wouldn't say this was a number 6, but just because of, like I said, after thinking about it further, there was probably more movies I enjoyed more than this movie, and this probably shouldn't have been on the list, but it almost got there. And that, to me, was Rise of the Planet of the Apes, was the biggest surprise to me this year. I thought it was going to blow chunks. I thought it was going to be terrible. Not Tim Burton Planet of the Apes terrible, but I thought it was going to be really, really bad. And it was amazing. Rick said there was 2 movies this year that made him cry or tear up, and there was more than that for me, but this was one of them.
Wow.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
That was almost a surprise for me too, but not really.
Okay, so
I expected it to be good, but not like how good it really was.
Yeah, I didn't even expect anything good out of it. So yeah, that's my list. Once again, 5 was Moneyball, 4 was Super 8, 3 was Red State, 2 was 50-50, 1 was Drive, and then my pleasant surprise of the year was Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
I don't think your list was predictable, man. Really, because hearing your list, Drive to me was predictable. Because the more I heard you talk about Drive, the more I'm like, okay, that's not only going to be on Mike's list, but it's going to be very high on his list, if not number 1.
I knew it was going to be his number 1.
But hearing you talk really high about Rise of the Planet of the Apes, so that one kind of surprises me that it's not on your list, but I can also understand why it's your surprise. I would have maybe thought Red State might have been a little higher, but I mean, it was number 3, so I guess, I don't know. There was something else. What else surprised me about your list? I don't remember. There was something. I don't know.
50 being number 2?
No, I don't know. There was, I don't remember. But it's fine. I don't think
after I was thinking about it more, like, once I was like, no, Planet of the Apes can't be in the top 5. There's other, like I said, there was other movies that I enjoyed more than that movie, even though that was a great movie. So it really came down to X-Men First Class, Transformers, and Moneyball. And I don't care what anybody says, Transformers could have been on my list very easily. Very easily.
Yeah, I thought that would have been on your list too. Interesting.
But that's my list. And now it is Bryce's turn.
Can I ask a question before we go on?
Sure.
So how are we doing the number totals like that? I'm kind of confused
Okay,
because I just realized, like, well, technically, if we're saying everything has a point value, like,
Yes.
so what is number 5? What's
Number
the point
5
value
is
for
worth
that?
1 point.
It's just
Okay.
backwards.
4 is 2. 3
Doing
is
it back.
3.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So 1 is 5. Okay.
One is worth 5 points.
I was like, all right, so my 5th movie is gonna get 5 points.
I figured that
All
would
right.
be the easiest way to do it. I didn't want to put arbitrary point values on things. Like I didn't want it to be like 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25. I figured let's just get right down to brass tacks. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Good. That works. All right, my list. I saw a lot of movies this year too. I saw most of what you guys saw, give or take. I didn't see Drive. There's a few movies I didn't see that you guys saw, but we all generally saw a lot of the same movies, except Rick saw some movies on his own that both Mike and I didn't see. But my number 5 wasn't on either of your guys' list, but it was on Francis's list, and my number 5 is Paul.
nice.
I really liked Paul. You guys know that I'm a Simon Pegg, Nick Frost whore, but I didn't pick it because I'm a fanboy. I really liked that movie. I thought it was good. And
that was
yeah.
in contention for me too, man. Like,
Yeah.
if I had to make a top 10, that would be in the top 10 for sure.
So Paul's my number 5. Number 4 for me was Super 8. You know, we've talked about these movies, so I don't want to go over it too much. But yeah, it was definitely just kind of, you know, and what?
I find it funny that me and you are JJ fans, and Mike isn't, and his is number 3.
And mine was higher than your guys's.
What? Where was your Super 8?
You were number 3, huh?
I thought Red State was your 3.
No, mine. Yeah, Super 8 was 4, I think, for me.
Oh, okay.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I am shocked your Super 8 is that low on your list, Bryce. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, I'm shocked too.
That Super 8's that low on my list?
Yes. Yes.
Well, yeah, that's where it landed for me. I like Super 8 a lot. It was enjoyable. It was an adventure. Rick, I don't want to say he blew my mind, but I mean, I really, until he said it, it really didn't dawn on me how similar Attack the Block and Super 8 were. And Attack the Block was very close to being on this list also. So yeah, but anyway, so 5 is Paul, 4 is Super 8. My number 3 is Red State. That's why I cracked up, because Mike and I's number 4 and 3 wasn't your Super 8 was 4, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, so our 4 and 3 were identical, so it cracked me up. So yeah, Red State was awesome. I went into that movie really knowing a lot less about it than either of you two. So I in some ways I kind of went in sort of not knowing what to expect, but knowing what to expect at the same time, because I knew that it was different from anything that he's done. But I didn't listen to any of those podcasts, and yeah, I really like that movie. I've watched it a couple times now, and I think it's really good. You know, I'm definitely. I've always liked Kevin Smith, but I'm definitely like even more so, which kind of sucks, you know, like getting into him even more than I probably ever have, you know, with him kind of winding down. So that kind of stinks, but I've always liked him. But yeah, I really liked Red State. So that's my number 3. My number 2, which is also funny, is 50-50. So Mike and I's, I believe 4, 3, and 2 were identical.
Awesome, dude.
I've only seen 50-50 once, but yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. And, you know, it definitely can work up the water in the eye area.
I can see.
So since I did it for all 3 of you, pussy. All right. But yeah, that was a really enjoyable movie. I'm looking forward to watching it again. It's cool that I love that someone that we really don't know too much outside of him being on the show a couple times liked that movie as much as we did.
Yeah.
And Ryan. So yeah, it's a really great, you know, near perfect, if not perfect movie.
Yeah, for sure. Man.
My number 1, which maybe you've guessed by now, or not, I don't know. Maybe you think it's just not on the list at all. But my number 1 is Moneyball.
Oh,
Wow.
shit, I started typing something else.
So what'd you start typing? Curious.
I can't say because it's probably going to be your surprise of the year.
Oh, okay. Probably. But yeah, my number 1 is Moneyball. It was hard, but at the end of the day, because I think I had 50-50 penciled in at number 1 a couple of times.
As did I.
When I was thinking about it, but I put Moneyball in as 1, which I think Moneyball was 5 for both of you, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So also kind of funny, but I really like that movie. It kind of conjured up some memories from that year, even though the focus was on the A's, but I just thought it was a really good story. I thought it was well written, even though some of the facts were changed around for dramatic effect, which is fine. But yeah, Moneyball is my number 1.
Nice.
Surprise, or should I recap my 5 first?
Recap.
Do you surprise?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Any
I
guesses?
already typed in Thor, so just hit me with it. So
Yeah. That'd have been my guess.
It's pretty obvious that that's what my surprise is, because I've been talking about it all year, and that's totally my surprise movie is Thor.
Nice.
And that's why, because I'm just like Mike. I had no interest in that movie whatsoever. Rick and I were doing something that day, and he's like, hey, do you want to see this with me? And as you guys know, it's like, if you invite me to something, unless it's like really something I really, really don't want to see, I'll probably be down and go watch it. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by Thor. I think Thor is really good, and that's why I give you shit, Mike, when you say you're not going to watch it, because I really want you to watch it, because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised too. So yeah, Thor is my surprise, which is really no surprise if you've listened to the show. So to recap, my number 5 was Paul. My number 4 was Super 8. Number 3 was Red State. 2 was 50-50, and 1 was Moneyball. And my surprise, not a surprise, was Thor.
All right. So the movie of the year
Getting all that complicated math out of the way.
is 50-50 with a total of 12 points.
That's right. 12
And
points.
also-
Cue the applause.
Also probably not a surprise either with the way that we talked about that movie. So
Yeah.
That's true.
Honestly, going into this, I figured it was going to be that. And remember, I told you guys, I think it's going to come down to 2 movies. And the other movie wasn't really even a factor. And I thought it was going to come down to 50-50 in Red State.
Wow.
yeah, I thought Red State was going to be in contention too.
Yeah.
I kind of knew 50-50 was going to be the one.
Oh, yeah.
I knew 50-50 would be the one, but I thought Super 8 would be with the next contender.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be in the mix a little bit more than it was, too.
Just
Well,
like
it
I
is
have no
tied
doubt
for
in my mind what the video game's going to be. Like, no doubt in my mind. Like, put a gun to my head.
I thought that too. Bryce. And I think it'll probably end up coming down to that. But I think I'm going to shock the world here. I think I'm going to shock the world. But anyway.
I still have no doubt.
Okay.
All right. So that is our list.
We could do the old video games, top 5 video games list right now.
Yeah. So let's
All right.
do our top 5 video games.
All right.
So right now it's time for...
On that note, Bryce, I am going to make you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. My number 5, and you could chalk this up probably to me not getting to play many other things, although I would argue this probably would be at least in my top 10 regardless, because I enjoyed playing this, and some of the funnest times I probably had playing video games was playing this with Rick, and I don't care if one comes out every year. My number 5 is MLB The Show 2011, because say what you want, and maybe that's, again, chalk it up to the fact that I didn't play many other games. But again, like I said, if we're going from the heart and enjoyment, it's going to be on my list, because it's Rick and I play this game a lot, and we play it online, and it's fun as hell. And the game introduced some new controls, a whole new way to pitch, a whole new way to hit, gave you that option. And I mean, this was in my tray a lot, so for it to not be on my list is kind of, not fair.
Okay.
I can't say that it would have been top 5 if I would have played other games, but
Right.
I'm pretty sure it would have at the very least been 10.
Very cool.
If we're going off enjoyability. So, and I'm sure Rick can even agree too, because I know he has just as much fun. But
Yeah.
it's fun. It's just
It
fun.
was a good
It's a
game.
fun thing to play. What's that?
It was a good game.
It's a good game, and it was. I had fun playing with someone else. So, my number 4 is Killzone 3. I did not play the first Killzone. I started with Killzone 2, but I really enjoyed Killzone 3. I think I might have even liked it better than Killzone 2. For one, because it didn't have a pain in the fucking ass final boss battle, which was so nice. Because Killzone 2's boss battle, seriously, turned me inside out and raped me 75 times. It was awful.
Dude, we talked about it to the point where we were going to trade the game in, and I finished it as you walked in the door
Yeah.
to my house.
Yeah. I had tried so long to beat it, and then I was heading over to Mike's house, and he was still working on beating it when we were minutes away from walking out the door to go trade it in to go pick up the new Guitar Hero, I believe it was.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
4 is Killzone 3. My number 3, and neither of you guys played this game, and it's not on either of you guys' list, I know this for a fact, is Dead Space 2. And I really like the Dead Space franchise.
I believe that was January, if I'm not mistaken. So that just barely makes the cut.
Oh, that's in 2011. It was early in the year. That one didn't come out. That wasn't a mistake. So yeah, that was pumped for that game. As that did come out in January, and I was really excited for it. I love those games. It's basically a survival horror game. That's, I guess, what they sort of categorize them as. But I think they're fun. I think the story's awesome. They really get your heart beating, and I don't know. I've enjoyed the hell out of them. I know Mike didn't really care for the controls, and Rick wasn't in the mood for the first one or whatever. But regardless, I like Dead Space 2. I like the Dead Space franchise. I'm
kind of glad that's there, dude, because I think that's going to get overlooked a lot of places because it came out in January or February, whenever it was.
I think it will too. And that game got high reviews across the board from my memory. You know what I mean? Like it's a really good. I like it. I like the story. I mean, it's really fun to play, and I would be lying or cheating myself if I did not include that on the list either, because that was one of the first games of the year that I played from start to finish, and yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun. I mean, definitely had a marathon session playing that. So that's my number 3 is Dead Space 2. My number 2 game. No, I don't want to say this. I'll say what it is first. My number 2 is Uncharted 3. Drake's Deception.
Whoa!
Fuck.
That's my number 2.
Wow. Nearly have a heart attack now.
I loved Uncharted, as you guys heard probably 3, 4, 5 episodes, however many episodes back it was, because that show was extra long because I decided to get on a soapbox and really profess my love to the series and the franchise in general. But it doesn't quite make my number 1. I like Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, and you can't say that I don't, because as we alluded to last week, or not last week, I think earlier on this show, talking to Ryan, I'm buying a whole new fucking platform to play the next Uncharted.
I'm surprised this is not number 1 for you. And it doesn't necessarily make me sad, because I think I have a good idea of what number 1 is, and I was hoping that that would have been on your list, but maybe somewhere else. But anyway, go ahead.
I'll explain. So anyway, you guys know how I feel about Uncharted 3, but yeah, for me, it if this other game didn't come out this year, it probably would be my number 1. But this other game came out this year, and I'm not done with it, but it doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter. I would like to have been done with it, but I can't foresee me playing this and have it changing my mind. Although it very well could. In some way, like I said, my video game list isn't quite fair because I haven't gotten to play as many games as I would have liked. But my number 1 is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And that's my number 1 because, honestly, with as much fun as I had playing Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, and I had a lot of fun playing Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, I am having more fun playing Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, without a doubt. And that's saying a lot because I know you guys heard me with Uncharted 3, but without a doubt, I'm having more fun playing Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And that is not taken away from anything else on this list or from Uncharted. But that game, it's just, like I said, call me a fanboy.
It's kind of what you wanted. It's what you've been waiting for. I know that. I know it.
Yeah. Call me a fan. I don't care. I picked what I enjoyed, and I did not pick this because Nintendo has been my company of choice growing up, or pick it because it's a Zelda. Because I'm being honest with my list, and if I felt Uncharted should have been number 1, I would have put it number 1. And I didn't just put it on here because I know you guys, that's not going to be on your guys' list because you guys don't have Wii's and you haven't played the game. But I'm putting on there because, yes, I think it should be recognized, and also because that's where it is on my list. This game, one thing that really kind of tipped it in that direction too is I can't sit down and play Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword and beat it in 8 hours. Yeah. I can't do it. And that's a big thing for me because I'm not a big fan of dropping $60 on a game knowing that I could finish it in a day, even if it is from relentless playing. I grew up with video games, loving and remembering playing games for months with my brother. You know, that was the best. And call it because maybe save systems weren't as relevant back then, and you had to leave your Nintendo on for days, but that's what I love. That's what I fucking love. I think games were a lot harder back then, and longer. And Skyward Sword, I've sat and played for 3 hours at a time lately, and I know I'm still not even close to beating it. And I know a friend of the show, Lawrence, he beat it, and he beat it a lot faster than I did, but I know he sat and had a lot more time with it than
He's on his second playthrough right now, by the way.
Jeez.
And he put 32 hours, I think he said, into it the first go through. I think.
I know he played pretty nonstop, and I'm not doing anything different or deliberate or really even trying to drag it out necessarily, but I'm talking to everybody. I'm doing the side stuff that doesn't feel like side stuff at all. This game is near perfect for me. Like, it's an awesome adventure. It gets me excited. It brings me back to, what I grew up loving about Zelda. Right. Not that the other games have been misses, because they haven't, but this game is awesome. And I would love if you guys are Zelda fans at all, regardless of what you feel about the control system or whatever, it's awesome. And this is motion control done right. It's, I'm laying down when I play it. The only time I have to sit up would be if I decide I want to roll a bomb like a bowling ball instead of throwing it. I don't even have to sit up for that. If I'm on the edge of the couch, then I could do it that way. Put your hand
down and roll it.
Right. So anyone trying to act like, oh, isn't it tiring, or do you have to stand up and wave the thing around like a douchebag? No, you don't. The game's awesome. It constantly and consistently surprises me, and that's why it's my number one. And that's where it would be. That's where it would be no matter what.
Well, before you get into your surprise, there's a game that's not on your list that better be your surprise, because if it's not your surprise, we can't be friends anymore.
And so I'm sure you probably know what my surprise is then, or maybe you don't. But
I hope I do. I fucking hope
whatsoever.
I do. For our friendship's sake, I hope I do.
My surprise, and this probably would still remain a surprise for me, even if this probably would be a surprise no matter what, because that's what it was. And my surprise is Saints Row the Third. And no matter how you slice it, that game was a surprise. It wasn't on my radar at all until I started watching some footage and some trailers. I'm like, holy shit, this game looks like it's going to be awesome. And honestly, there's no way I couldn't put this game as like shocker of the year for me. Wow.
Then we can still be friends. But the fact that it's not on your list really hurts me.
It's not on my list, where I know this makes me sound hypocritical, but I have not nearly put as much time into this game as I have put into Zelda or any of these other games on this list. So that's for one thing, and maybe if this list was longer, or maybe if I had more time with it, then maybe it would somehow have been my surprise and also numbered, but that's not what this was about. We were supposed to have a surprise. And
sure.
When I really sat and thought about this, I mean, for all I know, this could be number one for either one of you two. But I would argue to both of you, really, and be like, but at the same time, wouldn't you also argue that this possibly might have been the surprise for you guys too? Because I know this wasn't, none of us had really even were fans of this franchise. You know, and it's like, you start seeing this stuff, and like, it was hard for me to not have this be the surprise. So Saints Row the Third is my surprise, and that's where I think it probably should be for me. So that's my list. So number five.
Fair enough.
Number 5 is MLB The Show 2011, and haters, I don't give a fuck. It's a sports game, and there's going to be a 2012 and there's going to be a 2013. But you know what? With the games that I played this year, as limited as that was, this goes on the list because I played this probably almost more than any other game.
We put
consistently
in a lot of hours
throughout the year from March on, and I played it with Rick online, and it was fun as hell. And so, like I said, maybe it wouldn't be number 5 if I played more stuff, but it would be in the top 10. Because like movies, we were picking from our heart and not from what we think should be, and that's where it is. 4 was Killzone 3, 3 was Dead Space 2, and 2 was Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. Yeah, throw tomatoes at me, or shocking, or whatever, but that's where it is. And number 1 is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, to me where it rightfully should be, and I think it's going to get unfair treatment by other publications out there.
Like I've said before, man, I think you'll be surprised. I think it's not gonna make everybody's. It's not. I don't think it'll win Game of the Year anywhere. Mm-hmm. But I think like if you go to a site like Giant Bomb, or if you go to other sites like I think IGN does this too, where they have their staff pick their personal top 10 favorite things of the year, I think that's going to be in the top 3 for the majority of the people that make those personal lists.
I certainly hope so, because I really think it's not fair, because I know the reason why this won't be on a lot of people's lists will be because it's not high definition, there isn't voice acting in it, and I just think that's crap, and I don't think it's fair to the game. And like I said, yeah, I like Nintendo. You could make an argument that Mike's a Sony fanboy, and you can make an argument that I'm a Nintendo fanboy. Yeah. I don't really like to call myself that, because I've really, while Nintendo probably was my first love, I've branched out. And I have a PlayStation 3, and I've enjoyed the hell out of that system. And I try not to get involved in the whole Microsoft versus Sony versus Nintendo stuff.
Right.
But bottom line, I've had the most fun playing this game this year, and that should tell everyone that I've had a lot of fun playing video games this year, because you guys all know how much fun I had playing Uncharted 3.
Yes. And
that should also tell you how good of a game Zelda is. And I'm trying to express that from the most honest place that I can without people thinking that I'm being biased, because I'm
right. Not. No, yeah, for sure, man.
It would probably even be on my list, but I don't have a Wii, and
I thought that was going to be number 2 for you. I thought it was going to be number 2 for you. I really did.
Yeah, I figured that. I thought my video game list would surprise, but at the same time, I thought maybe you guys thought I might throw that in there as number 1. So,
like for me, I thought Saints Row was going to be number 3 for you. I thought Zelda was going to be number 2, and I thought Uncharted was going to be number 1.
I'm sad. I'm sad that I didn't get to play more things, because I think the list probably would have fleshed out a little bit differently. But I could tell you without a doubt that Uncharted 3 and Zelda would probably both be in those 2 spots for sure. The 3, 4, and 5 might be what would be different. So you could at least say you're getting a 2/5 legitimate list.
Sounds good to me, man.
And 2 out of 5 ain't bad. I know that's not how it goes, but whatever.
I really want to play Skyward Sword.
I hope you do. I hope you guys both. I mean, seriously.
I don't have a Wii,
honestly, with a new system coming out, and I'm not really anticipating getting too much more for the Wii, because there's a new system coming out, so I'm kind of consolidating a little bit. Like, I'd be more than fine when I'm done with it, loaning the system and the game to either one of you to try it out, because that's how much I really dig the game. Sounds good. If anyone grew up as a Zelda fan, I think they should play it.
Cool. Very cool. All right, Rick, your turn.
Okay. Here we go. Number 5 on my top 5 video game list is MLB The Show 11.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm glad to hear that, because I wrestled with that, man.
I kind of did too. Just like Bryce said, I spent a bunch of hours playing this with him and on my own. And it's such a great game. It's, like Bryce said, it's a sports game. But still, I have a lot of fun. I love baseball.
That's unfair. That's not fair to say just because it's a sports game or just because there was a driving game. Like, I'll tell you right now, if we would have done this show in 2009,
yeah,
Burnout would have been game of the fucking year. Like... And it's probably the game I still play the most of out of everything I have. So it's not to say
a few days ago.
It's not a bad thing to say, oh well, this is a sports game, but it deserves to be there. I mean, every game, if it's a good game, it deserves to be there, no matter the genre.
Because like he said, the new mechanics that they put into it, and pitching and batting, it felt really good. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while, a lot of fighting and hesitating, but
I had to do some arm twisting on Rick.
But I eventually caved, and it was actually really good. I like it.
He not only eventually caved, and I will go out and say this on record. He not only eventually caved, he whipped my ass.
Yeah,
that's true. He whipped my ass. Okay, and you could almost argue that it almost happened because almost before he switched to those controls fully, we were kind of going back and forth. Yeah. But then he learned those controls, and all of a sudden he just went on a streak. And it was just like, wow, man. And it's like, and you didn't even want to try these controls. And you're not comfortable with them. And like he did it, man. I was just trying to tell Rick, I'm like, just embrace it. Like, yeah, there's gonna be a learning curve to it, but that's okay. Like, just you'll learn it and you'll get more comfortable with it. And I'm glad you did.
Yeah, there was one game. I think I even took a picture of it where I got something like 15 strikeouts or something like that.
Damn.
So. But yeah,
I mean, I'll also discuss in there that sometimes I think his strike zone is a little bit of bullshit.
a lot better than last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's just different from the way Mike and I played, but that's okay.
All right. Number 4. Number 4 was kind of hard to choose between 4 and 3, but it's number 4 is LA Noire, which is a great game. I really enjoyed it. It almost could have been a surprise, really. I don't know if I could really count it as a surprise either, but the person at GameStop told me, "Oh, you should reserve it. It's pretty good." He started talking. He kind of, just sold me on it, I guess. And then when he told me it's very, noir. Well, obviously, but yeah,
It was very noir. It was very LA. It was very PS3.
Very, very good.
Did you ever get the extra cases, the downloadable stuff, or no?
No, I haven't downloaded the stuff yet. But I've been wanting to put it back in there. But I actually, like I said, put Burnout in my PS3. I started playing again. So, anyways, number 4, LA Noire. Number 3, probably no surprise, is Portal 2.
Nice.
Hesitant because I really, really enjoyed that game. I almost, again, would have been my number 2.
I know what number 2 and number 1 are, Rick.
No,
I hope I know what they are.
So yeah, Portal 2 was lots of fun. I played co-op too. That was fun as well. I haven't played the new DLC yet, which I really want to play.
It is fucking brain numbing. It is awesome. I've played I've played 3 chambers out of the DLC. And I played a little bit with Lawrence, and seriously, after every one, I'm like, all right, dude, we're both like, we need a break. We'll come back to this later. And our New Year's resolution is to finish that DLC stuff before New Year's.
See, maybe if I would have got into that probably could have boosted the number, but
yeah,
who knows? Anyways, number 3, Portal 2. Yeah, number 3, Portal 2 sequel. Yeah. My number 2 is Uncharted 3.
I knew it.
That's a surprise.
It's a surprise to me too. I don't know. I could have for sure said this would have been my number 1, but I love this. I love the Uncharted series so much. Yeah, everything like Bryce said. It's a great game. Love it. I still want it to be my number 1, but it's my number 2. My number 1, surprise, surprise, Skyrim.
Bullshit. You haven't even played that.
I did play it.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
On
I got
what?
it on Redbox. I got it.
When?
That's your legit number 1?
Yeah.
No, it's
Over
not.
Uncharted?
I know. I'm just fucking with you guys. You guys know. It's Saints Row the 3rd.
I had already started typing
Wow.
that, motherfucker, so...
But yeah, Saints Row the 3rd.
Wow.
I spent probably the equal amount of hours as I did playing MLB with this one.
But in a 2-week-long burst.
Yeah, this was a long game, and it took me... I think I pretty much beat the game, got the platinum in under a month.
Yeah.
Because I was so addicted to this game. It's ridiculous. It's outrageous. And it's wholesome fun for the whole family.
I am personally surprised.
Yeah, I am too, but I just spent so much hour. Dude, I spent 65 hours now in that fucking world.
I hear you. I think I know what Mike's number 1 is now too, because he mentioned something about shocking the house.
So
We'll see.
I don't really have a surprise to say.
Uh-huh.
Do you see why I argue why Saints Row is a surprise?
Yeah,
Well-
yeah, and yeah, I totally get that, but that's not to say it still can't make the list.
I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it can't. But
well-
like I said,
Well, I would really say Portal 2 would be a kind of a surprise.
I think you get my logic though.
Oh,
You know,
no, yeah. I get you 100%, dude. 100%.
And I struggle with that too, because I mean, a surprise could also be like an awesome game. But as long as we have that category, maybe if we didn't have that category, it would be on my list. But because of that category, I felt like that's where I had to put it.
Because I mean, Portal 2, I guess, would really be a surprise, even though it's my number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is another one. This one I absolutely had no fucking clue what I was getting into. And
yeah, I probably would. That sounds like that would be a surprise for you.
Yeah, and then I popped it in, and I couldn't put the controller down.
Or you could almost argue for you that L.A. Noire was your surprise.
One too. Yeah. But I would say Portal 2 because that one I really had no clue whatsoever. I mean, L.A. Noire title alone kind of, says what it is, but Portal 2...
So you kind of have an unofficial, official surprise then.
Yeah.
It's a good list, sir. I like that list a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Uncharted, but big purple dildos and jets. Just can't get enough of that.
Big purple dildos, jets, and auto-tune.
And
whooped your ass, Uncharted, in Rick's mind. All right, I guess that means it's my turn, huh?
Your turn, sir.
Yep.
All right. Number 5 is Dark Souls. I've talked about it in length in various podcasts, and it's amazing. I still want to play it. Every time I walk by Redbox, I'm like, is it in there? Oh, it's not in there. All right, let's go. Like, so if I'm at a store that has a Redbox, I always look for it. And every time I walk by a Redbox and it's in the box, I rent it for another day and play for another couple hours. So that's definitely one that, like we were talking about with Rick, like that could have been my surprise of the year also, but it's not. It's number 5. Number 4 is Infamous 2. You guys know how much I love the first game and how it was a superhero origin story in the best kind of way, because it wasn't a hero you knew about before. It was a fresh story. Very cool morality system in the first game, and the second game is like any good sequel for an action movie or a superhero movie. It's not a start over. It's the shit is starting to hit the fan, and the end to this game, the actual ending I got, because I ended up playing good instead of evil. The ending I got was fucking phenomenal. The story of the ending, not necessarily. The last boss battle is really, really fun, but the actual cutscene at the end, and like you guys have played a little bit of part 1, they use the motion graphic stuff for the cutscenes. It's so powerful. It's so good. It felt like the end of Dark Knight. Like this felt like it could have been something that we've enjoyed our whole lives. Like that's how well they fleshed out this story and fleshed out these characters. Is like you're not shocked by anything. You're like, yeah, fucking Cole McGrath could totally do that. And it like I said, it speaks to a reverence where it feels like you've known this character your whole life, but it's only been around a couple years. So that's number 4 for me. Number 3 is Deus Ex Human Revolution. Completely amazing. This is another game that could have been a pleasant surprise of the year for me, but
I forgot about that game.
It's so friggin' good, man. Everything about it. They made an RPG that was accessible enough for me to get into. The shooting felt good still if I wanted to go down that path, but the most rewarding part of it is actually talking your way into something. Like, I talked my way into a police station and was able to roam around that police station with nobody looking at me and do whatever I wanted because I talked my way into it. And that felt so good. So good. Number 2 seems to be a trend here, but it's Uncharted 3. A friggin' amazing video game. Perfect storytelling. I love the characters. I love the world. I just want more. And I can't wait for February 22nd. Bryce, the only thing me and you need to figure out now is where we're going to reserve our Vitas.
That's true.
That's the only thing we need to figure out what we're going to do with. And I think we should...
I still need to figure out if I got the funds. I'll make it work.
But yeah, man, it's amazing, 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 and I don't care what anybody says about this game. It is the best in the series, and I would expect nothing less from Naughty Dog. And it's not just on the strength of the Uncharted franchise, because I loved all the Naughty Dog games on PS2 and all that. So it's not just on the strength of this series or on the back of this series, but it has me completely fucking pumped for a game I know nothing about, and that's The Last of Us, and that's just because it's Naughty Dog. And I generally don't like to be like, oh, it's Naughty Dog, I know it's going to be amazing, but with their track record, over the last 15 years on the PlayStation and on this as a brand for Sony, it's Naughty Dog, and Last of Us is going to be fucking amazing.
Exactly, I was just going to say that.
So yeah, that's number 2. And number 1 here, me and Rick, Saints Row the Third.
Yeah.
Saints Row the Third. I've spent 63 hours in Steelport. I got the platinum trophy, 100% completed
hours?
the game. 63 hours total.
Oh, you're catching up to me.
Amazing. Just everything about it is good. I mean, you know what's it's so funny, because you know what, I'm gonna take that back. Everything about it, everything about it is good. There's nothing about it that's great, but it's one of those cases where the sum is greater than its parts. Everything is good enough to where there's never a point where I'm like, oh, I don't like this mechanic. I don't like this part of the game. I don't like this section. Like, the city feels like a real city. There's lots of pedestrians around. It feels like a lived-in world. And it's to me, it was the best gaming experience I had this year. Technically, was it the best game I played this year? No, that was probably Uncharted, but it was the best game experience I had this year. And I'm probably going to jump back in and play some more when that DLC comes out, and I'm probably going to buy the season pass, because they're going to throw in 4 mission packs, I think, over the next year. And it's amazing. And the only thing that makes me sad, Bryce, that this wasn't on your list anywhere, because if it was on your list anywhere, Saints Row the Third would have been Game of the Year for the show.
Oh wait, not necessarily.
Well, if it would, I would have either
Uncharted
tied.
3's got 12 points.
Yes, if you would have put it at number 4 or higher, it would have tied or beat Uncharted. And as much fun as I've had with you playing this game, I was shocked that it wasn't on your list anywhere. I really was.
I fucked it up.
But you know what though, man? Like, what was the next highest pointed movie on our thing, Rick? It was like 6 points, right?
It was tied between Super 8 and Moneyball.
Right. This game was nipping at Uncharted's heels for Game of the Year for the show.
Yeah,
and
it really was.
And honestly, I'm gonna say it, Bryce. If you would have played more of this game, I think this would have been number 3 on your list, behind Uncharted and Skyward Sword. I knew for a fact Skyward Sword was going to be number 1.
Yeah.
You said earlier you thought it was going to be Uncharted.
Yes.
You said 2 was Zelda.
Yeah, but you know, the more I think about it, man, as soon as I figured even before Uncharted came out, I figured, you know, when Skyward Sword makes the launch window before December 31st, it's gonna be Bryce's favorite game of the year, just because I know how much you were anticipating that game, and I know how hard they worked on that game.
I hope you feel that way for the right reasons, though, not because.
No, for 100% the right reasons, man. Yeah, I don't think Bryce just would have picked it because it's a Nintendo game. Like, no, not at all. It's the franchise, it's the series, it's the name, it's everything that goes into it. It's the way the game plays, it's the story it tells, it's the story it's told you for the last 27 years. Like, it's everything all in one. And so I thought it would have been hard for you. I thought it would have been a bitter dogfight between Uncharted and Skyward Sword. But I really do think that if you would have spent a little more time in Steelport, that Saints Row would be our show game of the year. But at this point, with the math, the crude math out of the way, we don't need a recount.
No.
The Some Shit We Like video game of the year for 2011 is Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception.
As I predicted. That's what I was saying. I knew
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah, man, I hear you. There's a couple X factors though, because I mean, Zelda was the X factor. Because even if Saints Row was still on the list, I probably yeah, you're right. I guess I could have had it been 3. I could have had it been 3. It's possible. Uncharted still would have been 2, but if Zelda didn't come out, Uncharted would have been 1, and that would have still fucked it up.
Yeah.
Because then Uncharted still wins because it would have had 15 points.
Well, if Zelda wouldn't have made it, then Saints Row would have been number 2, and we would have had a tie.
A tie how?
You would have had.
Because I would have had Uncharted number 1, and that's 15 points, and then you guys
I didn't have it number 1. I didn't have it number 1.
No. I would have had Uncharted number. Oh, you're right. You're right. You guys had it at number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. But I would have had number 1.
And it would have lost by 1 point.
So.
But yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Great list.
I still don't think, because nothing else surprised me. I think no matter what, Saints Row probably would still be my surprise as long as that category is there. I know what you're saying. I keep arguing that, but it's just if that category is there, I feel like I'm still going to put Saints Row as a surprise every time.
I would think
it
so too.
truly surprised me.
I just totally realized that I skipped over my surprise because I wanted to get to the Game of the Year thing.
Oh, that's right.
My surprise was Driver San Francisco, and I talked about that when I reviewed the game. It came out of nowhere for me, and it maybe would make my top 10, but that was the surprise of the year for me because I was expecting nothing out of that game, and ended up getting a really, really fun experience. But yeah, man.
Go ahead.
I think looking at your list right now, I think that it would have MLB, which the show wouldn't be on this list. Killzone would probably be number 5, and I know how much you enjoyed Dead Space, so I'm not going to rule that one out. I do think Saints Row would have been either number 4 or number 3, easily.
I would have think it would have been 4.
I don't know. I just don't know though. As long as
I know how much you like Dead Space. I know how much you like that series. That's why I said I don't want to discount that game at all.
Right.
But I think it would have been a hard. I think, like I said, you wouldn't have necessarily had to finish the game, but you're only about a third through Saints Row, and the middle third of the game is longer than the other 2/3, and that's because they're still it's crazy. You talked about how with Skyward Sword, how they were still introducing mechanics to you an hour and a half into the game experience. Mm-hmm. Like they're still showing you things that are fun to do. Not that you can't do them without seeing them in the story, but they're actually showing you these events in the story mode, through the story mode, all the way to about halfway through the second act, which is crazy. But I still think that's awesome because they do it in a story context. It's not just like, hey, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. It's like they actually show you within the context of the story.
Right. I hear you, and I'm not just trying to be argumentative, but again, it's still hard for me to get past not putting Saints Row the Third as the surprise, almost no matter what. Now, what I will give you is it's quite possible, and I'm almost kind of surprised that this wasn't the surprise for either of you two, just because we got so pumped for this game's trailer, and then at least Mike and I know Rick still had hopes for it, but Mike and I both kind of were like, oh, whatever, Dead Island, you know?
Yeah.
Especially because it kind of, but I'm kind of surprised that wasn't either one of your guys' surprises, just because
that was close. That was really, really close. And in fact, honestly, my surprise legit was almost Dark Souls.
Okay. But I would argue
that was on my list. That would have been on my list anyway. Dark Souls was going to be number 5 anyway on my list, but that was almost my surprise as well.
Here's what I will give you, just so I don't sound like I'm being a total dick and trying to be like, no matter what, Saints Row wouldn't be on my list. If I would have played Dead Island, I would argue that Dead Island would have maybe overtaken Saints Row as the surprise.
No, not even close.
Why?
Not even close. Because I know you. You would have really liked Dead Island, but I'm telling you, man. And you would still really like Dead Island. And you will still probably really like Deus Ex whenever you play that. And you'll still probably really like Dark Souls. But I'm telling you, man. I know you
Saints Row would be on the list and Dead Island would be my surprise because I expected nothing. That's what I was saying.
I thought you meant that would have been on the list.
No, I'm saying Dead Island would be my surprise.
Yeah, okay.
And Saints Row probably would then be on the list. But as it stands right now,
and
it's hard for me to...
completely fine.
Right. It's hard for me to not put it anywhere than as the surprise because, man, I'd heard about that game. I saw all the shit they did for Comic-Con. I didn't give two flying fucks until I started seeing some gameplay stuff.
Well, when we saw the stuff that came out of E3, I think that's when it took hold of us. And if you go back to the shows we did around there, that's when it really took hold. We were like, I think this game might be fun. And that's for me, that's what kind of took it out of the surprise thing. Like, Dark Souls was a game I picked up on a whim because I'd seen so many controversial reviews of it, and I loved it. And thought, okay, well, that was a surprise. Deus Ex was a game that I saw... not controversial reviews, but people talking about the original and how good the original was, and there was no way this was going to live up to it. And picked that up on a whim from Redbox and really liked it. Dead Island was a surprise for me also because after that trailer and then after finding out what the game actually was going to be, I was like, there's no way I'm going to even like this game. But I'm going to give it a shot. And I ended up really liking that game also.
Right.
So next year I'm abolishing the surprise rule. Just...
Yeah, because honestly, if you eliminate the surprise rule, because I still would put Saints Row as my surprise, because for me it still came out of nowhere. Even though I know I was probably anticipating it for a while, just it was totally off my radar though. Like it wasn't even there, and so. But yeah, I could see that just not being on there. Maybe we'll have honorable mention, but if it's going to be a surprise, it changes things.
So I guess now we can get to the Golden Turd Awards for 2011, where the winners were 50/50 and Uncharted 3. So
that is correct.
Your trophy's in the mail.
All right, so that wraps us up for 2011.
Before we go, I'm going to talk about something I like real quick, and I talk about them all the time. But for anybody that is into video games, and when they see Game of the Year posts from other websites, and they're like, "Well, how did they come up with that? That doesn't make any sense. How did they come up with that?" Giant Bomb every year they lock themselves in the podcast room in their offices for 2 whole days, and they record their discussions of what should get Game of the Year and all their other awards, console things, like console specific games of the year, downloadable game of the year, and then they have a bunch of funny. They have best graphics ironic, so it's like the game that looks the most like shit, but you still love the way it looks, kind of thing. Like, so they have a lot of jokey awards. They have the Northies, where they round up all of Nolan North's performance in video games that year and find out which is the best. And you know what's funny? I don't think Uncharted is going to win this year. That's what's funny.
Jeez.
So, and then today, we're recording on a Monday, today they started rolling out those podcasts, and they will put one up every day until January 1st. And on January 1st is when they will do the game. They put up the Game of the Year show, and that's usually their longest one. A few years ago, it came down to Metal Gear Solid 4 and Grand Theft Auto 4, and that specific one alone was almost 2 hours long. And like it was pretty brutal because like right away they were like, well, we know it's going to come down to Grand Theft Auto 4 or Metal Gear Solid 4, and there's four guys, and 2 of them picked Grand Theft Auto and 2 of them picked Metal Gear. And then for 2 hours it proceeded to be 2 guys trying to win over one of the other 2 guys, and it was so funny because about halfway through the show 2 guys flipped, and it was still 2 versus 2, but they flipped sides.
It's pretty funny.
So if anybody really cares about what goes into websites, well, specifically Giant Bomb and how they choose their game of the year or their awards for the year, subscribe to their feed on iTunes, Giant Bombcast, or go to the website giantbomb.com. and listen to the podcasts that are going up every day for the rest of this week and up until January 1st, because it gives you great insight onto what they do. And like I said, they also do personal top 10 lists. So they tell you, each staff member does personal top 10 lists.
You need to become friends with one of them.
In separate stories or columns. Sometimes they do. I think they're doing videos this year where they're doing a video of each guy and they're going to talk about their top 10 games and cut in footage of each one. So, but yeah, I love that site. I love how they do things, and I know Bryce is a fan as well, especially about their news reporting, because they do it in such an honest and clean way. And their reviews, while sometimes can be brutal as far as giving something a 2 when it deserves higher, they tell you exactly why in the review. And it's not one of those reviews that's like, I enjoyed everything about this game, but I'm only giving it a 3. Like, there's never that on that site.
So that wraps us up.
Yep.
2011 done and over, proceeding to the new year, 2012. So if you want to find us, you know where to find us, someshitwelike.com. You can find all our info there. Twitter, Facebook, emails.
iTunes feed.
iTunes feed, that's right. I always forget the iTunes feed because of the long length of not being on it.
Yeah, that's why I try to mention it every week.
Yeah, check us out and download us, please. So until next time.
That was the 2011 wrap-up of the shit we liked.
Until next year, right?
Yeah, until next year.
Until next year.
The level's never seemed to be good enough for Rick, though. He's always like, yeah, it's okay.
Here we go.
Never good enough.
And
You're always good enough, Bryce.
Not for Rick.
He almost wishes he never met you because he knows he can never be that good.
I think Rick does wish he never met me.
If I wish I never met you, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
You're talking to me right now out of association with Mike.
No.
Who
I
said
don't even
that?
like you anymore, Mike. I'm in love with Bryce.
Rick said that?
Yeah. That's
don't
all I
think so.
hear. That's all I ever
All
hear.
right.
All right, let's do this.
Oh, God, I was recording. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.